The Observer. James Miller had spent 5 years watching worlds burn. Standing at his usual spot by the massive observation window of the Galactic Council station, he studied his reflection in the transparent metal. The simple blue uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps hung loosely on his frame. He'd lost weight in recent months as the stress mounted. At 43, his face showed far more years than it should, deep lines etched by witnessing too many preventable tragedies. Behind him, the corridor bustled with its usual traffic of alien diplomats. None spared him more than a passing glance. To them, he was just another primitive species representative, allowed to watch but never to participate. The thought made his jaw clench. His data pad chimed with another alert. Miller's hands trembled slightly as he read the report. The Crest Empire had just obliterated another Federation colony world. 3 million dead in an instant. The fourth such attack this month alone. Computer, display casualty trends for the past year, he muttered. A holographic chart materialized before him, showing an exponential curve of civilian deaths. Each spike represented another world reduced to atoms by the Empire's planet-killer weapons. A tall, blue-skinned council member walked past, deliberately avoiding eye contact. Miller recognized him, Counselor Vrina, the same one who had dismissed his concerns about civilian casualties last week. Your species is too young to understand the complex nature of galactic politics, he had said with that infuriating patronizing tone. Miller's bitter thoughts were interrupted by an urgent message from Sarah Chen, his deputy. Emergency council session called. New attack. Worse than before. The main council chamber was enormous, with seating for thousands of representatives from across the galaxy. Earth's section consisted of exactly 3 chairs tucked away in the far corner, the primitive species section, as some mockingly called it. Miller took his usual seat, datapad ready to record yet another session of meaningless platitudes. The Federation's representative, a tall crystalline being named Xeris, stood at the center platform. Behind them, holographic images showed scenes of devastation that made Miller's stomach turn. An entire refugee world, home to millions who had fled previous attacks, reduced to radioactive slag. 3 million civilians, Xeris's voice cracked with emotion. 3 million refugees who sought shelter on our colony world. The Crest Empire gave no warning. No chance for evacuation. Miller's hands gripped his armrests until his knuckles turned white. He had visited that colony just 2 months ago, played with the children in the parks, shared meals with families trying to rebuild their lives. Now they were gone, turned to dust by an empire that saw them as nothing but targets. The Council's response was predictable. We will increase economic sanctions against the Crest Empire, the head counselor announced gravely. And we will send a formal protest about their violation of war conventions. Miller wanted to scream. Sanctions. A formal protest. Millions were dead, and the Council was sending strongly worded letters. But he kept quiet, kept taking notes, kept playing the role of the passive observer. That's what they expected from humanity, to watch and learn from their betters. Back in his small office, Miller updated the war maps covering his walls. Red markers showed fallen Federation worlds, blue indicated Crest Empire territory. The pattern was clear, the Empire was winning, and they were pushing closer to Earth's sector of space. His computer terminal blinked with a new message from Tom Reynolds, one of Earth's intelligence officers stationed on the Council station. The message was short: need to meet. Maintenance level 3. Urgent. Miller straightened his uniform and headed for the lifts. As he descended to the maintenance level, he reflected on Earth's true position in all this. The Council saw humans as primitives, barely out of their Stone Age by galactic standards. They didn't know about the orbital shipyards hidden beneath holographic shields. Hadn't noticed the military technology Earth had reverse-engineered from damaged alien ships they'd been allowed to study. Most importantly, they didn't understand that humanity's primitive nature included something many advanced species had lost long ago: the absolute conviction that standing by while innocents died was not just wrong, but unthinkable. The lift doors opened to a dimly lit corridor. Reynolds waited in the shadows, holding a data chip that would change everything. Humanity had been watching long enough. It was time to show the galaxy that being young didn't mean being blind to right and wrong. "You need to see this," Reynolds said, inserting the chip into his pad. "We intercepted communications from the Crest Empire's military command." His hands shook slightly as he brought up the files. Miller's eyes widened as he saw the attack plans. "These are coordinates for future targets," he said quietly. "They're pushing towards Earth's sector," Reynolds confirmed. "3 of their planned targets are just 2 jumps away from our colony worlds." He paused, face grim. "The Council knows about this, James. They've known for weeks." Before Miller could respond, both their emergency communicators buzzed. Another Council session was being called. The Crest Empire had launched a new attack. In the Council chamber, the atmosphere was different this time. Even the most composed alien diplomats showed signs of shock. The central hologram displayed a scene of pure horror. The Crest Empire hadn't just bombed their latest target. They had tested a new weapon that turned the very air toxic. 6 million dead in the first hour, the Federation representative reported, their crystalline form dulled with grief. The survivors. They paused, struggling to continue. The survivors are asking for mercy killing. The toxin's effects are. Miller watched the Council members' reactions carefully. Some showed genuine horror. Others, he noticed, barely reacted at all. His trained diplomatic eye caught subtle signals, quick glances between certain representatives, small nods, silent messages passed. Something wasn't right. Later that night, Miller sat in his office, surrounded by evidence Reynolds had gathered. Shipping records showed certain Council members had been selling advanced weapons to both sides. The same Council members who kept voting against intervention were profiting from the war's continuation. Even worse, they had deliberately classified Earth as a primitive species 5 years ago, changing the assessment team's original report which had actually recommended full membership status for humanity. They had wanted to keep Earth quiet, knowing humans wouldn't stay silent if they had a real voice in the Council. Miller's decision was made. He had spent 5 years playing the quiet observer, the primitive human learning at the feet of advanced civilizations. He had watched as millions died while the Council offered nothing but words. Tomorrow, he would address the Council. Tomorrow, humanity would show the galaxy that being young didn't mean being stupid, and being primitive didn't mean being blind to corruption. The war was about to change. The galaxy just didn't know it yet. Hidden strength. The Sol System's orbital shipyards had never officially existed. Beneath sophisticated holographic shields and sensor bafflers, Earth's greatest secret hummed with activity. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the observation deck of Project Phoenix Command, watching as construction drones swarmed around massive warships. 5 years of preparation were about to bear fruit. "Status report," she commanded, her voice carrying the weight of 2 decades of military service. "Final weapons integration complete on the Phoenix fleet," her XO reported. "The reverse-engineered Crest Empire shielding systems are performing beyond expectations. The Federation stealth tech we salvaged has been successfully incorporated into all vessels." Chen allowed herself a small smile. The Council's patronizing attitude had been their greatest advantage. They'd permitted Earth to study damaged ships from both sides, assuming the primitive humans could never understand the advanced technology. They hadn't counted on humanity's greatest strength, their ability to learn, adapt, and improve upon anything they encountered. Her secure comlink chimed with an encrypted message from James Miller on the Council station. "It's time," the message read. "The Council session begins in 6 hours. Be ready." Chen activated the command center's main display. "Show me fleet positions." The holographic map revealed hundreds of ships hidden throughout the Sol system. The Phoenix Fleet, Earth's newest and most advanced vessels. The Ghost Squadron, ships incorporating Federation stealth technology. The Hammer Division, heavy warships equipped with modified versions of the Empire's own weapons. Send the activation codes, she ordered. All ships commence final preparations. Operation Revelation begins in 6 hours. At that moment, in the Galactic Council station, James Miller was preparing for the most important speech of his life. The evidence was irrefutable: Council corruption, illegal weapons sales, deliberate suppression of Earth status, and the Empire's plans to expand into human space. But Miller had one more card to play. He activated a secure channel to Admiral Chen. "Sarah, is it done?" "Confirmed," Chen replied. "The quantum entanglement transmitters are in place. When you give the signal, every holographic projector in the council chamber will be under our control." Miller nodded grimly. "They want to dismiss us as primitives. Let's show them what primitives can do." The council chamber filled slowly that morning. Representatives from hundreds of worlds took their seats, many looking bored. Another day of meaningless debates and hollow resolutions. The head counselor, a tall gray-skinned being, called the session to order. "Today we will discuss further sanctions against the Crest Empire's recent actions." Miller stood. "Point of order. Earth requests immediate speaking rights." The chamber went silent. The head counselor looked down with annoyance. "Observer species do not have speaking rights during full sessions. Please return to your designated area." Article 47 of the Council Charter, Miller said clearly, allows any species to speak when they have evidence of actions that threaten galactic peace. "I invoke that right." Before anyone could object, Miller activated his data pad. The chamber's main holographic display came alive with evidence. Shipping records, banking transactions, classified military reports, all proving the corruption at the heart of the Council. "For 5 years, Earth has watched this war," Miller began. "We've watched millions die. We've watched the Crest Empire destroy worlds. And we've watched as certain members of this council profited from both sides." Angry shouts erupted from various delegations. The head counselor banged his ceremonial staff. "These are serious accusations without without proof." Miller interrupted. "Computer, display evidence files gamma through epsilon." New holograms appeared, showing council members meeting with weapons dealers, accepting payments, changing Earth's assessment records. "You kept Earth restricted as observers because you feared what we might do if we knew the truth," Miller continued. "You were right to be afraid." He pressed another button on his pad. The chamber's lights flickered, and suddenly the entire ceiling became a massive display, showing real-time images that made many representatives gasp. The holographic shields around Earth's shipyards had dropped, revealing hundreds of warships. Advanced vessels incorporating technology from both the Federation and the Empire, but improved upon in ways that should have been impossible for primitives. "Humanity is done watching," Miller declared. "As of this moment, Earth formally announces its entry into this conflict, on the side of the Federation." The chamber erupted in chaos. The head counselor was shouting for order, but Miller wasn't finished. "Furthermore, we are implementing an immediate blockade of all council space lanes being used for illegal weapons shipments. Any vessels attempting to deliver weapons to the Crest Empire will be stopped." "This is outrageous," a council member shouted. "You have no authority We have the authority of conscience," Miller cut in. "Something many of you seem to have forgotten. And we have this Another button press, and the holograms showed Earth's Ghost Squadron already in position throughout council space. They had been there for weeks, completely undetected by supposedly superior alien sensors. To the Federation representatives, Miller continued, his voice carrying across the chaos, "Earth extends an immediate offer of alliance. Our fleets are ready to assist in the defense of your remaining worlds." The Crystalline Federation ambassador rose slowly. The Federation accepts Earth's offer with gratitude and humility. Perhaps we too were wrong to judge humans as primitive. Miller turned to face the Council leadership directly. To those Council members who have profited from this war, your time of hiding in shadows is over. Earth's intelligence services have transmitted evidence of your crimes to every member world's government. Your own people will hold you accountable. The chamber had fallen silent now, the weight of what was happening sinking in. Humanity hadn't just been watching for 5 years, they had been preparing, gathering evidence, building their strength. And to the Crest Empire, Miller's voice hardened, know this, your next target was to be the human colony of New Eden. You thought we were weak, primitive, defenseless. You're about to learn how wrong you were. His comlink chimed, a priority message from Admiral Chen. Ghost Squadron reports Crest Empire forces moving toward New Eden. They're maintaining their attack schedule despite our revelation. Miller smiled grimly. Perfect, they were about to learn exactly what humanity could do. Representatives of the galaxy, he announced, I suggest you all watch what happens next. Earth is about to demonstrate why assuming a species is primitive simply because it is young, is a very dangerous mistake. The holograms shifted to show a massive Crest Empire fleet approaching New Eden. They were about to encounter something unprecedented, a human fleet that had spent 5 years preparing for exactly this moment. The galaxy was about to change forever. The age of passive observation was over. The age of humanity had begun. First strike. The Crest Empire's fleet commander, High Admiral Vexthor, watched the tactical display with disdain as his ships approached the human colony of New Eden. His orders were clear, make an example of these upstart primitives who dared to challenge the natural order of the galaxy. Status of the planetary defenses, he demanded. Minimal, High Admiral, his sensor officer reported. Standard colonial shields, nothing that could withstand our planet-killer weapons. Vexthor's scaled lips curled into what passed for a smile among his species. Begin charging the main weapon. Let's show these humans what happens when dash. New contacts, the sensor officer suddenly shouted. Multiple vessels decloaking directly ahead. The tactical display exploded with new signatures as Earth's Ghost Squadron revealed itself. Dozens of ships incorporating enhanced Federation stealth technology appeared in perfect attack formation. Impossible, Vexthor hissed. Their technology level couldn't dash. More contacts, the sensor officer's voice cracked. Behind us, above, they're everywhere. The Phoenix fleet dropped out of FTL, their advanced drives allowing them to arrive with precision that shocked the Empire's tactical computers. Human ships armed with modified versions of the Empire's own weapons moved to cut off any retreat. Admiral Sarah Chen's voice echoed across all frequencies, Crest Empire vessels, this is Earth Fleet Command. You are hereby ordered to power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. This is your only warning. Vexthor's response was predictable. Open fire. Show these primitives dash. He never finished the sentence. The Ghost Squadron's first strike demonstrated just how much humanity had learned during their years of observation. Ships incorporating both Federation and Empire technology, but modified in ways neither side had considered, tore through the Empire's supposedly superior shields. How are they penetrating our defenses? Vexthor demanded. They've found a resonance frequency in our shield harmonics, his science officer reported in shock. They're using our own power signatures against us. The battle that followed would be studied in military academies across the galaxy for centuries to come. The Empire's fleet, despite its technological advantages, found itself facing an enemy that had spent years analyzing their every weakness. Human ships moved with surprising coordination, using tactics that seemed to anticipate every standard Empire response. Back in the council chamber, the assembled representatives watched in stunned silence as the battle unfolded on their holographic displays. James Miller stood calmly, allowing them to witness the consequences of their arrogance. Fascinating, isn't it? he commented to the nearby Federation ambassador. How much you can learn just by watching. While your advanced civilizations were dismissing us as primitives, we were studying. Learning. Adapting. The crystalline being's form shimmered with what Miller had learned to recognize as respect. Your people have achieved in 5 years what many species take centuries to develop. Necessity, Miller replied simply. When you know a threat is coming, you don't have the luxury of gradual development. The tactical displays showed the battle entering its final phase. The Empire's fleet was in disarray, their formations broken, their superior technology rendered ineffective by humans who had spent years preparing countermeasures. Admiral Chen's voice came through again, all Empire vessels, your shields are failing. Your weapons are ineffective. Surrender now, or we will be forced to demonstrate our full capabilities. Vex Thor, his bridge damaged and his pride in ruins, made one final mistake. Launch the planet killer. Let these primitives watch their colony burn. The Empire's deadliest weapon, a massive energy projector capable of destroying worlds, began to power up. The council chamber fell silent, many representatives remembering the billions who had died to similar weapons. But humanity had been preparing for this moment too. Ghost Squadron, execute Protocol Omega, Chen commanded. What happened next redefined the galaxy's understanding of human capabilities. Special modules attached to the Ghost Squadron vessels activated, creating a complex web of quantum-entangled fields. The planet killer's energy beam fired, and vanished into what appeared to be a localized space-time distortion. Remarkable, the Federation ambassador whispered. You've created a weapon that can redirect their planet killer technology. Miller shook his head. Not redirect. Their energy beam is currently exiting in empty space approximately 50 light-years from here. We studied the quantum mechanics of their weapon and found a way to change its path. The Empire fleet, their ultimate weapon neutralized and their forces in chaos, finally surrendered. As human ships began boarding procedures, Miller addressed the council again. Let this serve as a lesson, he said firmly. Humanity will no longer stand by while corrupt officials profit from genocide. The Federation has accepted our help. Any other worlds who wish to stand against the Empire's aggression will find Earth ready to assist. The political earthquake that followed was unprecedented. Several council members, their corruption exposed, faced immediate recall from their governments. Others, seeing the power humanity had revealed, began urgently reconsidering their positions. But the war was far from over. The Empire still controlled vast territories, and their response to this humiliation would be brutal. They would adapt to humanity's current capabilities, forcing Earth to reveal more of its carefully prepared innovations. In his private office, Miller received an urgent message from Earth's Defense Command. The Empire had already launched massive retaliatory strikes against 3 Federation worlds. Their entire military was mobilizing. They're not going to back down, Admiral Chen's hologram reported. This is going to get worse before it gets better. Miller nodded grimly. We expected that. Implement Phase 2. Show them what else these primitives can do. The galaxy had thought the battle at New Eden was impressive. They had no idea what humanity had been holding in reserve. The real war was about to begin. Escalation. The Crest Empire's response to their defeat at New Eden was swift and brutal. Within days, they launched simultaneous attacks on 12 Federation worlds, overwhelming local defenses with sheer numbers. Their message was clear, they would not be humbled by primitives. Admiral Sarah Chen studied the tactical displays aboard the EFS Phoenix, Earth's most advanced warship. The Empire had adapted quickly, changing their shield frequencies and weapons configurations to counter the strategies humanity had revealed. They're learning, she muttered, watching red dots represent Empire forces spreading across the galaxy. Time to show them what else we've been working on. Her executive officer approached with a priority message from James Miller. The diplomatic situation was deteriorating rapidly. Several neutral worlds, fearing Empire retaliation, had withdrawn their support for the Federation. The Council was paralyzed, split between those demanding action and those still clinging to their profitable neutrality. Execute Phase 2, Chen ordered. Deploy the Lazarus Protocol. Across human space, hidden installations activated. For 5 years, Earth had been preparing not just weapons, but an entirely new approach to warfare. The Lazarus Protocol represented humanity's greatest technological achievement, and their most carefully guarded secret. The Empire's next target was Proxima Colony, humanity's oldest extrasolar settlement. The attacking fleet was massive, nearly 3 times the size of the force defeated at New Eden. They expected human ships to try the same tricks. They were prepared for stealth attacks, quantum field manipulations, and shield frequency exploits. They weren't prepared for what actually happened. As the Empire fleet approached Proxima, their sensors detected no human ships in the system. Their commander, Supreme General Kraz, allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. The primitives had fled. Begin bombardment sequence, he ordered. Reduce their colony to dash. Sir, his sensor officer interrupted. Energy spike. Massive quantum disturbance. Space itself seemed to tear open around the Empire fleet. But instead of human warships emerging, something else appeared, pieces of stations, orbital platforms, and defense installations, materializing out of nowhere directly adjacent to Empire vessels. Impossible, Kraz breathed. They can't have mastered quantum teleportation on this scale. But they had. The Lazarus Protocol wasn't just a weapons system, it was a new way of thinking about space warfare. Humanity had learned to store entire defensive installations in quantum pocket dimensions, deploying them instantly wherever needed. The battle that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Empire ships found themselves suddenly surrounded by defense platforms that hadn't existed seconds before. Weapons fire came from installations that appeared and disappeared faster than targeting computers could track. Back on the Council station, Miller watched the battle unfold alongside increasingly stunned representatives. The Federation ambassador turned to him, their crystalline form vibrating with curiosity. How? They asked simply. We took inspiration from studying quantum entanglement in Empire planet killer weapons, Miller explained. If energy could be redirected through quantum fields, we reasoned matter could be stored and transmitted the same way. It took us 3 years to solve the engineering challenges. The tactical displays showed the Empire fleet in complete disarray. They couldn't effectively fight an enemy that could instantly reshape the battlefield itself. Traditional space combat doctrine was useless against an opponent who could teleport entire fortresses into existence at will. But humanity's greatest innovation wasn't technological, it was psychological. The Empire's entire military philosophy was based on overwhelming force and rigid hierarchy. They couldn't adapt quickly enough to an enemy that rewrote the rules of warfare itself. Send the signal, Miller instructed Chen via secure channel. Show them Phase 3. Throughout Empire space, hidden quantum receivers activated. Humanity hadn't just been preparing to defend, they had spent years seeding enemy territory with dormant technology. Suddenly, Empire commanders found their own space filled with human defense platforms, cutting off reinforcement routes and isolating their forces. The Council chamber erupted in chaos as the strategic implications became clear. Humanity hadn't just developed new weapons, they had fundamentally changed how space warfare worked. The Empire's numerical and technological advantages meant nothing against an enemy that could instantly fortify any position. The Empire will not accept this humiliation, one council member warned Miller. They will escalate further. We're counting on it, Miller replied calmly. That's why we haven't shown them everything yet. In the Proxima system, the Empire fleet was retreating in disorder. But Supreme General Kraz had one final card to play. On his command, a special vessel emerged from hyperspace, carrying a weapon that could tear apart the fabric of spacetime itself. If we cannot have victory, Cross snarled, neither shall they. Activate the reality breaker. As the weapon powered up, Admiral Chen's voice came through on all frequencies. That would be most unwise, General. You might want to check your quantum sensors again. Kraw's eyes widened as new readings appeared. The human quantum technology hadn't just been about teleporting installations. They had learned to detect and track quantum signatures across vast distances. They had known about the reality breaker for months. You see, Chen continued, we've had time to prepare countermeasures. Would you like to see what happens when a reality breaker meets a quantum interference field? We've run the simulations. It's quite spectacular, though not for anyone within several light-years. For the first time in the Empire's history, one of their commanders surrendered without firing a shot. The reality breaker, their ultimate weapon, had been neutralized before it could even be used. But victory at Proxima came with a heavy price. The quantum technology required immense energy and couldn't be used continuously. Humanity had revealed one of their greatest advantages, and the Empire would adapt. They'll change tactics now, Chen reported to Miller. Start using biological weapons, targeting civilian populations directly. The next phase will be uglier. Miller nodded grimly. Then it's time to show them why Earth's history of warfare makes us uniquely prepared for ugliness. Implement the Thanatos Protocol. The galaxy thought the Lazarus Protocol was impressive. They had no idea that humanity had named their defensive technology after the biblical figure who rose from the dead. The Thanatos Protocol, named for the Greek personification of death, would show them something else entirely. The real war was about to begin. Endgame. The Thanatos Protocol was humanity's darkest innovation, born from Earth's long history of warfare. While the Lazarus Protocol represented humanity's defensive genius, Thanatos embodied their mastery of offensive operations. Admiral Chen watched from the EFS Phoenix as the protocol initiated. Across Empire space, quantum signals activated dormant nanomachines that had been seeded through civilian trade routes for years. These microscopic infiltrators had one purpose: to disable the Empire's biological weapons before they could be deployed. Multiple bioweapon facilities detected, her AI reported. Nanite swarms engaging. The Empire's secret weapons, engineered plagues and viral agents, were being systematically neutralized by technology they couldn't even detect. Humanity had learned from their own brutal history of biological warfare, developing countermeasures that operated at the molecular level. James Miller stood in the council chamber, addressing the emergency session. The Empire thought to escalate to biological warfare. They failed to consider that Earth's medical technology, developed through centuries of fighting diseases, might be more advanced than their own. The holographic displays showed Empire bioweapon facilities going dark as human nanites rewrote their viral strains into harmless proteins. But this was just the beginning of Thanatos. Deep in Empire space, their supreme military command received reports of catastrophic system failures. Their quantum communications network, the backbone of their military coordination, was collapsing. Human cyber warfare systems, based on decades of Earth's digital conflicts, had finally cracked their encryption. Target their central command and control, Chen ordered. Show them what information warfare really means. The Empire's response was desperate. They launched their entire reserve fleet toward Earth, hoping to end the war with one massive strike. Over 10,000 ships, carrying enough firepower to destroy multiple star systems. Miller received the alert in the council chamber. Admiral Chen, they've committed their reserves. Execute final phase. Throughout human space, massive structures hidden in quantum storage revealed themselves. The Athena Array, humanity's ultimate defensive system, powered up for the first time. Based on principles reverse-engineered from both Federation and Empire technology, but amplified by human innovations, it created an interlocking network of quantum fields that could redirect energy at a stellar scale. The Empire fleet emerged from hyperspace near Saturn, expecting to catch Earth's defenses focused on protecting the homeworld. Instead, they found themselves trapped in a web of quantum fields that turned their own energy weapons against them. Supreme Overlord Zarkax, commander of the Empire's forces, watched in horror as his fleet's weapons fire curved through space in impossible ways, striking their own ships. What is this sorcery? The answer came from Admiral Chen, broadcasting on all frequencies. This is humanity's gift to the galaxy, proof that intelligence and innovation matter more than age or arbitrary measures of advancement. The Empire fleet, unable to effectively fight in space that no longer followed normal laws of physics, began to retreat. But humanity wasn't finished. The Thanatos Protocol had one final component. Quantum receivers activated throughout Empire space, but instead of deploying weapons, they broadcast the truth. Every Empire citizen saw evidence of their leadership's corruption, their alliance with criminal council members, their plans for genocide. The Empire's own population rose up against their government. In the council chamber, Miller addressed the stunned representatives. Humanity remembers its own history of tyranny and revolution. We knew the Empire's greatest weakness wasn't military, it was the truth their leaders hidden from their own people. The war ended not with a massive space battle, but with internal revolution. Empire worlds declared independence, their populations demanding new leadership. The corrupt council members faced justice from their own governments. Federation Ambassador Xeris approached Miller. Your species has transformed the galaxy in months. Was this your plan all along? Miller smiled sadly. We studied your histories. Every advanced civilization eventually becomes rigid, forgetting the innovation that made them great. Humanity's gift to the galaxy isn't our technology, it's the reminder that true advancement comes from never stopping learning, never accepting limits. 1 year later, the galaxy had changed fundamentally. The Empire had reformed into a democratic federation. The Council had been reorganized, with Earth holding a prominent position. Their primitive status had been replaced with recognition as one of the most innovative species in known space. In his office on the Council station, Miller looked out at the same view where he had once stood as a mere observer. A message from Admiral Chen flashed on his screen: the last Empire holdouts have surrendered. It's really over. Miller thought about the cost, the lives lost before humanity revealed their strength, the worlds destroyed while they prepared in secret. They had won, but the victory carried heavy burdens. Incoming priority message, his computer announced. Federation deep space sensors have detected signals from beyond the galaxy's edge. Unknown origin, artificial in nature. Miller smiled. Humanity had helped the galaxy find peace. Now it was time for their next great adventure. They had proven they weren't primitives, now they would help lead civilization into an uncertain future. The stars beckoned, and humanity, along with their newfound allies, would answer the call together.